I've been through divorce, I've been through cancer, and none of it was harder than not being able to play. That's what a student told me in one of our sessions recently. He's a veteran touring guitarist who's played on albums you've probably heard. He started playing professionally at 15. He's toured for decades, and for the past 6 years, his hands have been getting worse. It started as tightness, then it became pain, and eventually it got so bad that putting his hand on the strings felt like, in his word, pushing through concrete. He took 5 weeks completely off. He tried stem cells, tried peptides. He saw doctors. Nothing worked. And the whole time, there was this anxiety underneath. What if they call me for a session and I can't do what I used to do? And of course, that anxiety makes everything worse. And he came to me because nothing else had worked. I'm Joseph Arnold. I'm a professional violinist and a certified Alexander Technique teacher. And for over 20 years, I've helped musicians get out of pain and stop fighting their own bodies. In this video, you're going to see exactly what I saw when I watched this guitarist play. The 2 experiments we ran in real time, and the moment his tension dropped from an 8 out of 10 to a 2 in a single session. And then I'm going to demonstrate the same thing on my own instrument to show you this isn't just a guitar problem. Okay, in our very first sessions together, he started to improve. But on this particular day, something clicked that changed everything. And I want to walk you through exactly what happened, because the way I found the problem and the way it resolved tells you something important about how your body actually works. Not just if you play guitar, but if you play anything. So here's what I saw. He sat down and he played a passage, nothing crazy, just a medium tempo piece he needed for an upcoming gig, and I watched his body. But not just his hands, his whole body. And every single time he approached a tricky moment, a thumb transition, a particular kind of chord, this same thing happened. His eyes tightened. His head moved down toward his hands. His neck compressed. His lips pressed together. That whole trying hard face that every guitar knows, every musician knows. We call it guitar face, And then his hands would brace and fight. So he'd been telling me for weeks that his hands were fighting him. He says, I put my hand on the strings and it's like it's just pushing back somehow. And I could see why. Everything above his hand was locking down first. And then the hand had no choice but to lock with it. So I asked him to rate his tension levels. He said 7 or 8 out of 10. That was his baseline. And he said that this was actually better than it had been in years. So we ran an experiment. I said, okay, play the same passage, but this time, before you start, just notice the space around you. The space above, the space behind, on either side. The space between your face and your hands, between your fingers and the strings. Don't try to do anything with it, just notice the space. And so he did that, and he played, and immediately something shifted. His shoulders dropped, his head stopped diving. The sound got cleaner, and he said, that's better. And not only that, but my eyes and neck are softer, and my neck is usually a mess. So I asked him to rate his tension at that time. He said 4 to 5, down from 8 in one pass, just by widening his attention from the narrow tunnel of his hands to the bigger space around him. But I wanted to go further, because I'd seen the specific thing that was driving all of it, the head dive. So I taught him this next lesson. I said, think about how you stop a horse. You pull the reins, the horse's head goes back and down, and the whole animal gets weaker. So that's how something smaller than a horse, you, controls it. And the same thing kind of happens in this rodeo sport where the cowboy brings a bull to the ground, riding up alongside it, grabs the head, the horns, pulls it back, and turns the head. The head goes back and down like this. The whole powerful body folds. And his eyes got wide. I said, okay, so now put up your arms in the air, wiggle your fingers, Notice how light they feel. Okay, now drop your head down like this, like you're peering onto a hard chord, right? And then you did, and then put your arms up and wiggle your fingers, and what do you notice? You can try this at home. And he felt it instantly. His arms got heavy, his arms didn't even go up all the way, his hands got tight, and nothing else changed except his head position. So I said, you've been doing this to yourself this whole time. Every time you focus hard on the notes, every time your head dives, your eyes tighten, and everything from your neck down locks up, including your hands. You're basically pulling the reins on your own coordination. Oh, and he said, okay, so that makes sense. And that is why my neck hurts all the time, right? Okay, so then I showed him the connection between his eyes and the top of his spine. There are direct connective tissue pathways there. And I had him put his thumbs at the base of the skull, underneath here, and move his eyeballs around. And if you put your thumbs deep in there, sort of gently sensing the muscles, you can feel the muscles at the top of your neck responding to every eye movement. And he said, good grief, when he noticed that. And then I had him tighten his eyes and feel what happened here as well, and then soften them. The difference is immediate and visceral. So we ran the second experiment. I said, play the same passage, and this time, the only thing you're going to do differently is don't let your head dive down. Don't tighten your eyes at the critical moment. You're not trying to do something new, you're preventing the old thing from happening. And so he played. And this time, I'm watching his right hand, and it's the freest, most natural movement I've seen in the entire time we worked together. Not because he fixed his hand, but because he stopped crashing his head into his hand's coordination. All right, so then finally I asked him to rate his tension levels 2 to 3, down from 8, in 20 minutes. The same passage, the same instrument, same hands. The only thing that changed what was happening above his hands in his head. Okay, and then he said the thing that really got me. He said, when I do that, my hands go to the strings easier. They don't fight me. After 6 years of fighting, just no more fight. All right. So I got my violin here. So now let me show you, this isn't just a guitar thing. I'm a violinist, and the same pattern shows up every day in my own playing and my students' playing. So watch what happens when I play this passage with my normal kind of focus. Okay, so now watch what happens when I narrow down. I let my head dive into my left hand, really peer at the fingerboard. Do you hear the difference in the sound? Do you feel that sort of grab in the sound? I bet you can see the difference in me as well. So now I'm going to play it one more time, the same passage, but now I'm going to keep my awareness wide, the space around me, my head sort of floating instead of diving down, my eyes soft, just refraining from diving. All right, so that's the difference. I'm moving much more freely, and the sound really opens up. When you're getting all tense, that dampens the vibrations of your instrument. So it's the same finger, same note, same instrument, but a different relationship between my head and my hands. Okay, so here's what I want you to take away from this. Your body is smarter than you think. It already knows how to play. The problem isn't usually that you need to learn something new. It's that what you're doing, is that something you're doing is getting in the way. You're interfering with yourself. And that something is almost always above your hands, like in your head, in your eyes, like how you focus. It's not necessarily in your hands, even if that's where you feel the tension and pain. So if you're a musician dealing with hand tension or pain that won't resolve, here's what I'd suggest. Play a passage that gives you trouble and just notice. Don't fix anything. Rate your tension. And then watch. At the moment it gets hard, what does your head do? Do your eyes tighten? Does your head move down? Most people see it immediately once they know what to look for. And then the practice is simple. Pause before the hard part. And as you play through, just don't dive. Let your head stay free. see what your hands do when the rest of you stops fighting. So if you want to see the full breakdown of why this works and a step-by-step practice you can do today, you can watch last week's video. I'll link it in the description and in the card right here. And if you want help finding your own pattern, because this is a habit and habits become unconscious, so it's genuinely hard to catch your own head doing this, there's a link below to book a free 15-minute call with me. I also run a free online musicians tension reset lab where we work on this stuff live together, and that link's in the description too. So leave a comment. What's the hardest thing you've been trying to fix about your playing? I read every comment and I'll reply. All right, so one last thing to take away here. What would I like to say? Playing is meant to be free. And this whole trying hard habit, it contains this sort of lie. The lie of trying hard is that more effort equals more effectiveness. But very often it's the opposite. More effort gets you all bunched up, and that just interferes with what you're trying to do. And yet we still believe the lie. So the way you can stop believing that lie is to show yourself again and again and again these moments of freedom. In these moments of freedom, do you get more effective or less effective? And what I find is that no matter what, when you free up, you get more effective. And sure, there's a relearning process. Sometimes it can feel like, oh, where do my hands go? But that very quickly resolves itself as you see again and again and again that your body is smart. Your body does know how to do what you're trying to do already. And we'll figure it out much more effectively if you simply pause and wait and let yourself move freely. All right, so that's all for today. I'll see you next time.